Hey, what's going on, guys? Reading here, and I'm back with another tech video. Now, this time we're going to be doing how to get macOS Catalina working in a virtual machine. The instructions are pretty much the same as the last one, High Sierra, but there are a few subtle differences that I'm going to go over. So we're going to follow them again. Please note that I'm mainly uploading this just to make sure that it will work for you guys in hopes that it should. For me, it did work, but it was a little slow. Now, I don't know if that's just my computer. That's why I'm uploading this, is because I want to make sure everyone still has a chance to at least get it to work. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. You're going to want the macOS Catalina on the App Store. You're going to want a USB. For this case, I'm going to be using a 64 gig. But you can use a 16 gig at the minimum. You're also going to want on your computer where you're going to run the virtual machine, the Windows one, Windows 10 preferably. I tried this in Windows 8.1 back when this was running Windows 8.1 and it didn't seem to work. So Windows 10 recommended. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into this. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Mac. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back. Been having a lot of issues here, but I'm back on the Mac. First thing you're going to want to do, make sure that macOS Catalina is downloaded. Just go to the App Store link and stuff. For the sake of this video, I've already downloaded it. There's some commands we need to run right here. Now, but I'm going to skip this middle one. I already did that one. I just had some issues. Basically, if you get an error that says create install media not found when you run this command, that is a sign that your installer is not complete. You will need to go ahead and re-download your installer. So I don't need to run these two commands. I just need to run this one. But you guys are going to run all of these. If you have... Hang on. But if you guys have issues where it says like can't format disk or something like that, it's like gone. Yeah, you might have an issue where it says you can't format the disk. If that happens, you need to go ahead and format it yourself in Disk Utility. But for some reason that doesn't really seem to work for me. Like I've had some naming conflicts and all sorts of stuff because I did it to the USB by mistake. But I'm going to go ahead and change my USB's name now to Cruiser Blade, hence because that's its model, just so I remember not to do that again. Because they were both called the same thing, and then I had trouble mounting them and finding out which was which. So this is our DMG. This is our USB. This is where most of the time you're going to have issues. You're also going to want to make sure that this part right here isn't just right down there. You need to actually put it on the same line as that, or you're going to get create install media not found. It'll ask for your password. Here's where you'll notice. There's the error I was talking about. So I'm going to head to Applications, Utilities, Disk Utility. Right here it is. Don't erase the disk. Erase the partition. And set to be macOS Extended Journaled. Now you'll notice why I named it like this, because I don't want to confuse it with the USB. I'm going to go ahead and paste this command again. This time we need to change some things around. I know I'm going through a lot of trouble here, but I've been going through a lot of pain and suffering just to get this working. And somehow I got it working when I did it the other way. When I did it like last time I tested this. Now make sure it is set to your DMG. Like, yeah, that's the weird thing. So I've got a back way we can take. This is probably way easier. If you go here and you go to show package contents, you can go and find create install media yourself. This will definitely help you if you have any issues. You can just simply drag it in, go to type --volume, go ahead and go here, go to folder, change this to be /volumes, then just drag your DMG. Then you don't need to type no interaction. It'll just prompt you to erase it. Press Y, There you go. It is working now. That is an easy way to fix it. If you get create install media not found, you can go ahead and do that. This doesn't usually take long because it's a DMG. It's longer with a USB. So I'm going to leave this on. There's still some commands we need to run to convert to an ISO and stuff. But really, once you get past this command, the hard part is done. You see? Because now our USB is safe and we've got our DMG with Catalina on it. So now we're going to just go ahead and run this command. This will go ahead and detach it, eject it basically. This is going to convert it to a CDR. CDR files are pretty much the same as ISO. You can rename the file extension and they will stay the same. This part usually doesn't take that long either. There it is, Catalina.cdr on our desktop. Let's go ahead and converting it right now. Once again, these commands shouldn't take too long because it's a virtual, like kind of a virtual disk, like a DMG. It's not actually a USB or a hard drive. But it's just kind of finishing up. There you go. So now you're going to go ahead and this is the main command here. We're just going to move it to desktop. Here you have it, your ISO image. It's right here. So now you're going to copy this to your cruiser blade or whatever USB you're using. Should be able to safely close this. You'll get this little window here while it's copying. This is only a USB 2.0, so it's going to be kind of slow. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out. I'll be back on the Windows computer once this is finished. Okay guys, I am back. We are here on the test desktop now. So we're going to be creating a virtual machine, running some commands, but first we need to plug in the USB. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here it is. Here's our ISO. Do not mount it. You'll get an error. It says it's corrupted. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly normal. But I'm just going to Control-C, Control-V that. In this case, I'm going to put it in my downloads. It's going to go ahead and copy it. So, but basically, while that's copying, we need to go create a virtual machine. So go ahead and you're going to need VirtualBox and the extension pack recommended. So I'm going to go ahead and go to virtualbox.org. So basically here you can download VirtualBox. Under downloads, I recommend the latest version of VirtualBox. Should still work with it. Doesn't matter the version, but don't use too old of one. Then basically this is where you're going to get the extension pack. You can just click on this. The reason we need the extension pack is because Catalina only supports USB 3.0 inherently. So basically you can't get USB 3.0 in VirtualBox without the extension pack. And here's some of its other features. You also can't get 2.0 without it. But so USB will not work in Catalina unless you get this extension pack. I've already got that installed. So I'm going to go ahead and open up VirtualBox. We're going to just click new. You can ignore all this. Those are some other stuff. I'm going to call it Catalina. Now, it may set it to Linux. I have no clue why. macOS is built on top of Linux. That could be a reason. But go ahead and select macOS X and select High Sierra. You can give it quite a bit of memory in my case, but I recommend like at least 4 gigabytes, which could be about half of most people's memory. Considering the fact that I've got a lot of memory, I can probably give it a good 16 gigabytes. You're going to make sure this is set to create a virtual hard disk now. Click create. I'm going to give it 100 gigabytes, or at least close to that. Leave these as they are. Make sure you can select fixed size if you want. It will take up more space, like significantly more, because it takes up this amount of space instantly. It will take longer to create, but it will make it faster. For this, I'm going to be selecting dynamically allocate, where it gives it more space and expands to this maximum space I set there as it's written to it. It's a big space saver. Set this to VDI. Go ahead and press create. Now we're going to do some configuration, but first I would like to wait until this finishes copying. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll be right back once this is finished copying. Okay guys, I am back. It's finished copying. Here it is in my downloads. I'm gonna open this right now because this is some commands we're gonna be typing pretty soon. But basically, they're pretty much the same as the commands in the High Sierra, but with some differences such as this and some just stuff like that. I think that might actually be the only one. So now that we're in VirtualBox, we're gonna do some configuration through the settings first. You're going to go in this, make sure this should be set as we did earlier. You don't need to mess with any of that. Make sure you uncheck floppy, change this chipset to PIIX3. Make sure enable EFI is checked. Under processor, make sure this is 100, make sure this is checked. And I recommend giving it about half of your CPUs. So most people it might be 2. For me it's 4. Now we're gonna head to display, give this 128 megabytes. Some people suggest VM SVGA. That is not recommended. You can use it if VBox VGA doesn't work, but I'd suggest VBox VGA. Under storage, you're going to click this disk icon, go to that one, and you're going to choose a disk file and browse to your Catalina.iso. Should go ahead and add it. Then under USB, you're going to want to set this to USB 3.0 if you can, because you remember macOS Catalina only supports 3.0. Go ahead and press OK. Now this part's important. You must close VirtualBox before doing the next steps. So now we're going to open the start menu, go to Windows System, Command Prompt, run as administrator. I'll answer to that. And basically now we're just going to take this command prompt here, enter some commands. I don't copy and paste them, but pause the video now if you do want to enter them yourself. Make sure that under these parentheses here, not parentheses, quotation marks, make sure under those you want to make sure that is set to your virtual machine name that you named it. For me it's Catalina, but whatever the name of your virtual machine is what you're going to put in the quotations. Just going to keep running these. Okay, this is probably the longest one right here. Then it should be perfectly normal if you don't see anything. Perfectly normal. Now you can close. I'm going to close this. Close the command prompt. We're heading back to VirtualBox. Go ahead and go make sure this is selected. Press start. The virtual machine will boot up. Press cancel at this. You don't have to select anything in here. I'm gonna full screen that for the time being. It's just doing some stuff. Even if it looks like errors, leave it. It's perfectly normal. Close that banner at the top. You really only want to be worried if a certain error stays on the screen, and it's not moving. You only want to worry if it's like that for a few minutes. So as you can see, it's loading. There's a lot of text, which is perfectly normal. Just because it's in verbose mode is what it's called. Verbose mode is basically where it shows you everything it does. I mean everything. It's helpful for error troubleshooting. In fact, a little tip, a little fun fact. On a real Mac, to get to verbose mode, you have to make sure your firmware password is off. And same with, I think, File Vault. But if you press Command V right as a Mac is turning on, like a real one, it will do the same thing it's doing right here. It will do it in verbose mode. It's just a little fact. So it's still working, it's doing its RAM disk stuff. Okay, I think we're getting to the end here. Okay, quick little note. I just want to let everyone know that if you see a bunch of text like this, it is normal. And then eventually a bunch of text goes by so fast you can't read it, and then it reboots, you've had something called a kernel panic. Please, I'm always willing to help people in the comments if you get one of these and can't seem to fix it, because it's a lot of text that's hard to read because it moves at like really fast speeds. And you might also get with that what's called an infinite reboot. Basically, it's where it will reboot over and over again. You'll get the kernel panic while it's booting, reboot, kernel panic, reboot, kernel panic, reboot, and it keeps going. Now, if you get this, you might have done something wrong. You might try redoing all the steps. But if that still doesn't work, I'll help you in the comments. Okay. So a few things we have to do for the install process. Like, for example, we need to format the hard drive. We're going to need to go through the usual process. But I'm going to show that on screen just so that everyone is well aware how to do it. Okay, this is the final stage. If you see this Apple logo and this loading thing, this is what you normally see when you're booting non-verbose, but it shows it for a few seconds while it's just booting the final steps. If you're seeing this screen right now, you're most likely in the right place, and it will most likely continue to work from here on out in terms of booting it, which means congratulations, guys. You've gotten through the hardest part of running macOS and Windows. The hardest part of it is getting it to boot. You can do all the other steps easily. In fact, the thing back at the Mac earlier in this video where I had the issue with the disk, that's just one part. And that's mainly just because the naming issue I had and that's just an error that is an easy fix, just hard finding the fix, you know? So I want to congratulate you guys if you've gotten this far. Okay, here you are on the screen. We're about to get to the recovery menu as usual. Now, the part where it slows down for me, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, at least I should have, and I think I did, to where how the mouse and stuff really slows down for me when I'm getting to the setup screen. But I think setting the graphics controller to VirtualBox VGA should have fixed it, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's why I'm posting this, is because I want to make sure you guys probably won't have the same issue because it's different hardware. Okay, so go ahead and select your language. Of course, mine is English. You see what I mean? It's taking its time a bit. You'll get to that screen, you'll see this screen now. So you're going to go to Disk Utility, go ahead and press Continue. It'll load itself up. Usually doesn't take that long. Now this VBox CD-ROM media, this is your install macOS Catalina volume, like your Catalina.iso. This is the image on this volume that it runs all this menu from. So you're going to go to VBox Hard Disk Media. This is your virtual hard drive. Click Erase. I like to call it Macintosh. Jeez, my typing's off. Hard drive. macOS Extended is what you want. You want GUID partition map. Press Erase. So we'll go ahead and erase. You can click this if you want. There's just a few extra details here. When it says it's complete, click Done. You can now close Disk Utility. Go back to this menu. You're going to go to Install macOS. You're going to click Continue. And you're gonna get the same screen we saw, or at least you would see, when you go to when you downloaded the macOS application and it opened itself. When we closed it, you're gonna see that same screen, except this time we're actually gonna run it. Called it. Here it is. Now this is what I mean, like you can see with this mouse how it's starting to get laggy. This is kind of what I mean. It kind of slows itself down. So I'm just gonna let you guys go through this installation. Should be able to click continue, but as you can see my mouse is so slow I can't do anything. But you're gonna go ahead and just press continue, accept the license agreement, and from here it's straightforward. So guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and send the shutdown signal on this thing, because I really don't wanna, because having that mouse so slow is a pain, and I'm not gonna go through it. But I can confirm that there's nothing else you really need to do from here, besides set it up as you normally would. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Everyone, that's gonna do it for this video. Everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.